will be presented by another handsome man, Mr. Bolen.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Professor Sa and team, Dr. Bisana, and my team leader in this course, Mr. William. Yeah, I'm now in the car going to Bangkok from PETH, the border of Cambodia. And yes, so allow me to present on the module 4, corporate governance in practice. And you can see that, there are different types, at least 3 types of corporate governance. You can, Anglo-American, European, or ASEAN. But let's see how this corporate governance is exercised in different companies. And also in my presentation, we also have a few case studies showing the success and the failure of implementation of the practice of corporate governance as well. And so I believe that in previous presentation, you can see that board diversity is one of the crucial elements in board composition. Because when we have different board diversity, it means we have different individuals with different background, skill, experience, genders, even ethnicity and perspective. And that will help the company to make a better decision. And that is very important to improve the performance of the company as a whole, especially when making decisions. Also, one of the functions in the board composition is we have a remuneration committee. So alongside with other committee like risk audit committees or financial committee. So risk remuneration is very important so that we can have compensation package for the senior management, like salaries, bonus, stock option, or other benefits. It is very important to have this strategic compensation for the senior management. And let's see why we need to have board diversity. Usually, first, it is improved decision making, and you can see that very perspective. Any decision that should be made from different perspectives that usually bring about more desirable income, and also encourage innovation and creativity. We can also have risk management there. Number 2 is enhance corporate performance. Usually with the diverse background of the board, they have different views, different ideas, check and balance, so that usually can improve financial and operational performance. And that reflect the higher returns on equity and shareholder value. Number 3 is stakeholder representation. Because for the corporation, it function the mission of the company, especially a corporation, is not only for the benefit or the profit of the shareholder, but also the stakeholders. So we have different stakeholders, even the clients, consumers, employees. So when we have a good board diversity, let's say, for example, in some corporations, we have independent board, and that diverse board is more likely to understand and address stakeholder needs, and also fostering stronger relationships and enhance reputation in the society. Also, the innovation will be much better, increase as well, because different board members, they have different ideas, they have different backgrounds, they are exposed to different experiences, across fields. So usually innovation comes from that end. Let's see how we can have the executive remuneration in order to motivate them to make sure that they perform well for the interest of the common good of all stakeholders. First, we need to align with corporate goals, because remuneration, compensation definitely need to be aligned with the corporate goals. It has to be win-win with the corporate goals and the executive compensation. And number 2, if we do not have a good, fair, attractive remuneration, we cannot attract talents. Because in the corporation, not only senior executive, but also other executives, we cannot just hire anyone. We cannot just hire people, but we want to make sure that those people are talents. Talents, you know, they are high performer, they are high professionals or high potential in the company. So strategy compensation is very important to retain talent. And of course, when we have good remuneration, and then we can ensure that, you know, people, those talents can better perform and bring impacts on the corporation. So better incentive compensation can bring, encourage people to perform more, and at the end of the day, corporation, the company will benefit from that. So what are the operational responsibilities and stakeholders? Of course, the board does not involve in operational work of the executive management, but of course, the board need to oversee, you know, make sure that they have close oversight on the operation of the management. So then the board have the responsibilities, you know, to make sure that the management of the company, the executive, they have compliance. They adhere to the legal and regulatory requirement. And also the board, we have risk committee, especially in the board composition. They can identify and mitigate risk. They can also alert or advise the executive management. And it is very important now, especially when we are talking about sustainability report. So ethical practices is very important. And you can see in the history, many companies now, sometimes they fail because they are facing with the ethical practices. So when the consumers, the customer find that the company is not upholding or practicing ethical practices, and then the consumers, the customers sometimes stop buying the products, for example. So ethical practices implemented by the management is very important, that need to be monitored by the board. Shareholder engagement, it is another important task that we can address the needs of shareholders, employees, customers, and communities. Because running a corporation is not only about employees and customers, but also other communities, shareholders, regulators, that we need to balance. So the board, good board, can also help the management to have a good stakeholder engagement as well. So what are the importance of operational responsibilities? First, build stakeholder trust. So as you can see, this stakeholder we have from shareholder to the employees to the customers, consumers, even the authority. So when we have the trust from them, you know, the company will prosper. And also reputation, any product, any services, you know, we sell with a reputation. Another word we call branding. So social branding, reputation will be enhanced with a good operational responsibility of the board as well. And at the end, we one corporation, you know, can last long. We have a long-term success. Not only we have does not depend on the profit alone, but with all this, you know, like reputation in the society, the trust from the stakeholder. So that is the important operational responsibility. In the corporate governance, audit is one of the very crucial role, especially to ensure that to ensure a transparency and trust from the shareholders. So that's why we need to have independence of auditors, so that they can come and you know, usually it is done once a year or at any special circumstances that are requested by the shareholder. And the role of the audit committee, because in the board composition, you know, usually you can see audit committee together with the remuneration, or maybe sometimes the legal committee as well. So the audit committee is one of the committee in the board that oversee the audit process, financial reporting, and also internal control to make sure that the operation of the corporation is implemented, you know, according to the financial standards and also other legal framework. Internal control is also very important, not only on the financial side, but also all other operational aspects. So what are the regulatory compliance? In any business, in any country, so there are many regulators, varying from one sector to another sector. So first, we make sure that the company complies with laws. It is very important, even though we are making profit, we are growing, but if the corporation does something against the law, and that's very high risk that can lead to closure of the corporation. Together with the law compliance, the ethical standards, that is I would say, the power of the people, the power, of the user, consumers, how they view that the conduct of the corporation. So we need to uphold, a high ethical standard. Reporting requirement. So I believe that in every country, corporation, need to have many reports, tax report, legal report, labor compliance report, accounting report, that we have many regulators that need to respond to. And that is very important as well to ensure the corporate governance, the sustainability, growth of one corporation. So why we need the good governance in mitigating financial failure? One is the integrity, ethical leadership, risk management, of course. Many big corporations fail, collapsed because they could not foresee the risk. And transparency, that's what the shareholders want. Not only the shareholder, even consumers, they want transparency. But for shareholders, accurate financial reporting, that is very important. For listed company, even more important, because all the public, the consumers, customers, and people alike can be the shareholder. That it is even more important that we need transparent financial report. And also, when with good governance, we can hold the management accountable for any misconduct, in financial or delivering the goods and services to the customers. This is some good example of financial failures due to poor governance. I believe that maybe people, you also used to know Enron from the US, that used to be very well known, but then collapsed because of the fraud in accounting practice and lack of board oversight and big governance. This is the common in the US. And also we have another Lehman Brothers that is very famous recently as well, when they take too much risk, especially in home, in mortgage, in home loan. And because I believe that the risk committee, if they have done their job more properly, maybe would not lead to the collapse of Lehman Brothers. HIH, insurance company in Australia, also collapsed through to poor governance because of low pricing of the premium, and also financial management is very poor. And that financial committee or the board, if they work a bit more, carefully, balancing between the revenue and the income, especially, the financial management, and also the insurance links too much, also to mortgage-based insurance. So many things that the board could prevent, but the board failed to oversee the risk, to foresee the risk, and that led to the collapse, of these three corporations. And that shows the importance of good governance. So some are the policy and laws for market stakeholder protection. In some countries, even in Cambodia now, we have what we call customer protection unit. I believe that also in other countries. So it is very important that we need to have a fair treatment and safety of the product and services, the services to the consumer. Otherwise, the consumers can make a lawsuit against us, leading to the closing of the company as well. Competition laws also now in place in many countries, including Cambodia. I believe that in Thailand, we also have this competition laws. Financial report, we need a clear international and also national financial reporting to ensure that the fairness and transparent financial management, asset equity management for the stakeholders. And then corporate governance, that is the framework that can ensure all this above. Consumer protection, competition law, especially financial reporting. So corporate governance promote accountability and ethics in all these areas. So how to apply policies and law for protection? So first, we need legal framework. If we do not have a legal framework, there are many loopholes, in cooperation implementation. So professional must be familiar and with relevant laws and regulation. So the management, not only the senior executive, but also department managers in all the company, they also need to understand legal framework concerning or relating to their work. And we need to establish policy and procedures, because sometimes we had a framework, from international framework or national framework, but also we need the corporation need to establish policy procedures adopted by the shareholder or the board, and also actively engage with stakeholders to understand their needs and align practices with expectations. So what we mean by stakeholders, employees, shareholder, board, even the consumers, the regulators, that we need to understand them so that we can align our corporate governance policies and law with that regard. Of course, implementation we can be success or not. We need to monitor and a good reporting. So that's why we need to regularly monitor and report the compliance practice. So here are a few rules for protecting financial market. First, market transparency. Especially it is very more important for the listed company, public company. Regulation, require companies to disclose accurate, timely information. For the board, for the shareholder, so transparent reporting, we can ensure the trust that investor, stakeholder can make informed decision, and that can have develop more trust from the stakeholders. And this we need to bear in mind that we have to have insider trading laws. I believe that every country they have, by theory that we are looking at here, the law prohibit individuals with non-public material information from trading security to gain unfair advantage, protecting market fairness and preventing manipulation. We have laws in most countries, but the thing is, some countries there is no strict or strong enforcement on the practice of insider trading laws. Anti-fraud regulation also very important to prevent fraudulent activities such as misrepresentation of financial information, Ponzi schemes, or market manipulation, in order to maintain trust in financial market. So here are the rules for protecting corporate value. For corporations, for listed company, it's not only about the profit, but corporate values that people are invested, that they invest. So in order to protect the corporate value, we need to have a very good financial reporting standards that comply with accounting standard and also provide accurate and consistent financial reporting, providing stakeholders with reliable information. Also, again, it's not only about money, especially for corporate value. It's not about the profit alone, but ethical conduct and anti-corruption. It is the social image of the corporation that brings up the corporate value. And now, very new, fresh, that corporation need to look at, and especially if they want to have impact investors or any other investors now, starting from the European now, and also scaling up to the rest of the world, that sustainability and ESG reporting is very important. Because people look at this, they investors look, to invest in a company with good sustainability practice. Let me summarize with a few key takes away. So we believe, governance is very critical. That we can mitigate financial failure, protecting stakeholders, and also ensuring long-term success. Also, compliance matter. It is very important. It's not only about profitable company, but make sure that the company also have a good compliance with regulators and also international and local rules. So understanding and applying policy, laws, and regulation is very important to protect the market and also for the growth of the company. Value protection. For SMEs, we may not talk much about the value, but we are talking here more about the corporation. So value of the company in the stock market or big corporations that we have investors in, rule and regulation for financial market and corporation are vital for protecting the market integrity, ensuring transparency, and safeguarding corporate value. So let me share 8 key effective corporate governance that practiced by PwC. I believe that they have their own most famous framework for us to work on. One is the governance framework, clear roles, responsibility, accountability, among shareholders, board, and the management. All the 3 tiers are very important. And also documentation. We need to have in place, the shareholder rights, business rules, and accurate updated documents, so that we, the management, can adhere, can follow. Also, policies need to align with laws. We cannot have just only internal, in-house policies and guidelines. We need to make sure that all the guidelines and policies are also aligned with the international and local laws. And every process, when we talk about governance, we talk about policy, procedures, and also process. But we need to document all those process, activities, procedures, all the practice need to be documented and also get adopted by the board and the shareholders. Effective board reporting is also very important, because sometimes, especially in some SMEs, they may miss, to have a good reporting on the board decision. So facilitated informed decision, strategic planning with insightful board reports. So every board meeting, we need to have a very clear and well-informed board decision in a minute. Here come with the agenda in the minutes that we need to prioritize strategic matters. So that's why before we had a board meeting, we need to have a good agenda, minutes, and also we can follow up later on with the pending tasks or any follow-up jobs of the management. And in order to perform a good board governance, all board directors need to have proper training. So director training is very important. Otherwise, the board directors may have just only the name and title there, but they do not know how to function as a proper board. So like in Cambodia now, they are planning to have a school of board directors as well. But so far as we know, we have in Australia, and many people get training in Institute of Board Director from Thailand. And Cambodia, we will have this soon as well. And some corporations, they also have subsidiaries, like franchise companies, or affiliates, or subsidiaries. So the corporate governance can need to be in place, not only in the principal company, but also with subsidiaries, so that we can consolidate all the financial or the corporate business performance reports, as a whole picture. Thank you so much, Professor, Doctor, and the teammate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bolen, for your precise presentation on the governance in practice. So now we would like to open the floor to other professors, associate professors, doctors, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any question, any recommendation, any input, please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank Bong Peng, thank Bong Polan. That's very nice presentation and insightful, about governance. But can you move slide to example of financial fellow due to poor governance?
On the
Previous slide, one more.
This
Yeah.
one?
Okay, because this is very good case about financial failure for Enron case in US, Lehman Brothers Bank happened in 2008 and HIA. This is very good case. But I want to learn, because the poor governance currently happen anywhere in the world, especially, recently in Vietnam, Miss Lan case, also now in court case, it's about the financial failure and poor governance as well. In Thailand, also have a lot of things, about crowdfunding or about network marketing, selling and getting fund with promise to provide higher interest rate. In Cambodia, as well, having the same thing about crowdfunding, getting a lot of fund and having a financial failure. All of these things, getting company to going down, liquidate and bankruptcy. So, for example, like in Enron case, the failure because of governance and allow executives to manipulate the financial statement and leading to bankruptcy. So for especially for in Cambodia for crowdfunding platform, but don't say about the name of the institution that happened, but please say about the crowdfunding platform. So can you identify what are the issues, what are the poor governance that lead to bankruptcy or lead to governance issue currently happen in Vietnam or in Cambodia or in Thailand? You can identify the issue and then we can learn together. Can you share this?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Visna.
Should I answer or?
I can take the floor first and then follow by Bong Bolen. You can add something more in regarding to this question. I think the thing is governance and ethics is involve a lot of ethical practices of individual who is leading the organization, I believe, because for big corporation and crowdfunding, when people are putting the fund into those crowdfunding, is that they are already giving the trust to that individual or corporation in order to protect their financials, growing them, and make beneficial of their investment. However, those trusts have been broken because of individual unethical practices, that lead to the implication of the bankruptcy, implication of the fraudulence that make that financial crowdfunding failure or collapse. For this one, I think more on implementation at a personal level. For example, if even they have a very good board of directors, they have very good committee in terms of investment committee, in terms of funding committee, in terms of many committees that they are setting up as governance structure. However, the implementation on the ground, they do not follow what have been documented in their internals or following the standards. Meaning that one or two person bypass many procedures. They don't follow the procedure to follow the approval from the committee before they can give out the money as an investment to individuals or to corporation. So bypass those require regulated documented procedures, only one or two person authorize those funds to give to individuals, third party, or to give to institutionals that make the fund cannot be manageable, increase the risk of financial losses, and also implication to the institutional as a whole. Then this unethical practice lead to the issue of implication on the failure of the organization or institute. And the question to ask whether they are having good governance, they are having good structure, they are having documented or not. Yes, they have. But the issue is they bypass all the regulation that they have been set in their organizational structure and governance. This is my answer, Dr. Visna, and Bolen, may you input something more? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, William. For me, I think I have similar ideas to you, but I would summarize in three groups, or I would say three failures, or three poor failures of this that usually lead to the failure of technology-related fundraising, let's say like crowdfunding. First, I would say the weakness of regulators. So the regulators, they may not have enough, sophisticated, or they may not have enough knowledge and skills in managing the crowdfunding themselves. The second is, of course, the manipulation or the greed, of the executive, or sometimes, from the shareholder or the board of the corporation. The third one is, I would say, the knowledge that the consumers, the customers, that they buy, the stock via crowdfunding, they do not have technology knowledge. So I believe the technology knowledge is very important. So that's why I would say that three failures: the consumer themselves do not have the knowledge and technology of crowdfunding. They just invest with, trust to the fundraiser, and especially they do not understand the functions of the fund management, fundraising, who is the fund manager, who is the fund distributor, who are the regulators. So they do not understand. They have very poor knowledge of technology. They say, for example, crowdfunding really depends on a very advanced technology like blockchain, and we should have more AI tools to automatically detect, the financial behavior or any financial change, in the system of blockchain. And then coming to the regulators, some countries still do not allow this crowdfunding because they do not have enough ability to control. But if they do not have enough ability to control, but then they let the operator, or they let this happen, they let this crowdfunding, happen, that is also their failure. And that's why to prevent this, the regulators must upgrade themselves, must know how to manage the crowdfunding. Especially, they need to know technology behind. Because in order to detect or to control crowdfunding, they cannot just see, from outside. They need to understand the technology that developer, that crowdfunding founders are using. So that's what I'm sharing, more on top of what William has shared.
Thank you, Mr. Bolen. Yeah, Dr. Visna, do you have anything else to input on this, your question?
Oh, yeah, very nice answer. But I just have one thing, just add on one thing, because you say about the diversity of board directors, you know already, one of our case happened. Very good board of director, very good policy in place, the system in place. All people are knowledgeable. All people are creditable, have more credibility. But the failure is that the oversight, monitoring, internal, oversight mean the board role that Bolen and Jermaine mentioned, about the role, operational responsibility. And the thing is about, because the directors not execute, but monitor and oversight. It means that the function of internal auditors not work well. They cannot identify risk. They cannot monitor whether the procedure and perform the procedure and the standard, the system are not performed well. That's why the executive management can have chance to manipulate the financial statement that lead to bankruptcy. That's the role. If the system work well, but they don't enforce well, the failure of the internal audit function, that's very important. Because everything look okay, look very good, but the failure of internal audit function, because internal audit function is the body, is the very important body of the board of director, because board director, they don't go and check. They rely on the internal audit function. Internal audit function should serve a role to identify risk of operation that performed by executive management. That currently happen for the bank as well. There are some fake loan that the loan officer doing, and then internal audit not identified, because sometimes because of big scope of work, and then sampling not the right point, and that's why I cannot identify the fake loan. Just sharing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Visna.
Bong Peng, I just want to add a little bit also. Very clear from Bong Peng and Bong Bolen already, but I just want to add that we are discussing about agency role. So what is the agency on behalf of the shareholder? So there's a problem with an agency role. So we talk about consequence of poor corporate governance, right? So have fraud, loss, financial loss, all of that. But the problem is, one problem is we have legal and regulatory penalty. It's not enforced in that matter. If legal penalty is enforced, then people might be more, what can I say, more accountable or practice better. That's what I see. So the problem is board implementation is not proper. It's not trained. Bong Bolen have one point related to training to the board. We cannot just set up the board, but make sure that it's diverse and also training. But I believe that final thing one is regulatory law penalty, all of that, and the enforcement of best practices. Yeah.
Thank you, Bang Jermaine. Is there any other question from the floor?
I think very good. Now we learn a lot. I think I don't have more for this section because we have one more module, right?
Yes, we have one more module, the last one. So may I move to the last module, or whether anyone want to have a 5-minute break or something?
I think we should finish.